got next, Jody?
We have Tony and Katie's at home with the kiddos.
Yep. Good to see you.
Give Tony a hand, guys. Perfect.
Hello.
So this is Tony's first time presenting. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found Lifestyles. And
Well, I found Lifestyles probably in 2007 or 8 from a coworker in Houston. He was buying a couple properties a year, and I was just like, what are you doing? And he told me about this group called Lifestyles, and I might have gotten the website wrong at first, but I eventually found it.
Did you hit the Swingers Club version?
I perused a couple sites, let's say that.
But the wife wouldn't have been happy about that.
This was way before the wife, so
Okay.
no, just kidding. So anyway, yeah, he had a couple properties there in Tomball near Houston, and he invited me to a case study there, and I went, and I was excited about it, but I had no money, so I just kind of stayed plugged into what was going on. And in 2011 or 12, I moved back to San Antonio, and I told my dad about Lifestyles, and he had a bunch of liquid money, and I convinced him to join, and together we bought, I think, a handful of properties at the time, which he still owns. And then life happens, I met my wife, and didn't do anything until 2017, 18, I'm not sure of the year, but my wife and I joined then, and didn't get really active until this year with single family homes.
Awesome. Okay. And so you're an engineer, and Katie is a physical therapist. Busy careers, successful,
Yes.
got the kiddos. One thing I thought was really different than most of our presenters is you did have a little bit of experience growing up, and I do know your dad.
Yep.
Fun fact, his dad was my dad's insurance. He was involved with Allstate Insurance, and since I was like 10 years old, his dad was my dad's insurance guy. So, little tidbit, right? Small world. But I knew your dad. I remember chatting with him, and he was involved in real estate. So at a young age, he would show you. You would go work on properties and do stuff, right?
Yeah, I was the gopher, lawn boy, translator, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Hey, free labor, right? You gotta
Yes.
get it when you can get it. Awesome. Okay. So why did you join? Obviously, you have a huge why with the family.
Yep.
And then you said you wanted to rub shoulders with like-minded investors with common goals. And that's a big deal. People don't think about that, right? You go to work, you go to your family, you have all these conversations about the future, but you talk about real estate, and they're like, oh my gosh, that cousin brother flipped a house and lost all his money. And it's so different when you come here and you actually have a map. So I think that is a good reason to join. So awesome. So let's talk about this property. A little bit different than what we typically do. This is a brand new property. So tell us how you found it and what made you go for a brand new build versus a huge rehab.
Okay. Well, I found this property just on Realtor.com. There was just searching for properties in my price range, and this one popped up. It was in the south side of town, 1604, and between 281 and 37. I thought it was a little far out there, but cute new build, and I did not have an appetite for rehabs at this time. My wife was going through physical therapy with her foot, and so I was really needed at home. So even just being but whenever I opened the door, it did not smell like the money. It smelled like money in a different way, I guess.
But this property makes a really interesting contrast to what Danny and Louisa just had, because that was a deep, lift, right? They got this huge equity capture. But here you got one brand new, right? You don't have to worry about anything going wrong with it. You probably had a builder's warranty on it for a year or so, didn't you?
Still have it, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they have a 1, 2, 3, 5, 10-year warranty on a lot of components in there, so pretty useful.
And you use Michael Martinez. He's also one of our lifestyle agents. Michael, I don't think he's in the room. There he is. Hey, Michael, shout out. He helped you acquire this property. 3-bed, 2-bath, which is perfect. That's what residents are looking for. Just over 1,200 square feet, built in 2022. So zero maintenance, zero issues. You only provided, I think you provided washer, dryer, stackable, right?
Yeah, the laundry room was too small for the traditional side-by-side, so I thought in order to rent it quicker, I would have to provide the washer and dryer unit there, so it did help.
So we don't have any before pictures, right? Unless you want to see raw land.
It's like land.
But we've got some beautiful home, gorgeous vinyl floors, stainless appliances, nice kitchen, bathroom. Is that
Yes.
granite?
Yes.
Awesome.
Nice.
Granite in the bathroom. Nice bedrooms. But let's look at the numbers. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more than $10K cash out of pocket because it's a brand new house. So you're using a different type of loan. You used a 20% conventional loan, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Who was your lender on this?
Well, we had to go through financing through the builder to
Okay.
get a lot of seller
Incentives.
incentives.
Okay.
And the after repair value is a little sneaky because that was the appraisal
Okay.
value, but they were actually selling for $215 to $230 the year
nice.
before.
Okay. So we could really call equity higher than 15. We went with the bare bottom conservative number, just to be conservative on that. So appraisal 195. You purchased it for 174,499. Zero rehab besides a stackable washer dryer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other costs, that's your closing costs, your insurance, all that good stuff. So at the end of the day, your equity capture 15,000. You rented it for 1,630. That's almost 20,000 a year. Cash flow. So cash flow is what you take home after you pay all your expenses at 417. That's fantastic in this market where we're seeing a lot of the lower cash flows nowadays. That's a great cash flow. Just over 5,000 a year in net cash flow, which is 11% cash on cash return. Still very fantastic. And then a 33% return on equity.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of these numbers here. First of all, we went over it very quickly, but hey, interest rates went up, right? So what happened is a lot of these builders are subsidizing with points to get the interest rates down, which is what you had, right? Yep. What was your interest rate on this?
5.5.
5.5, which was what, about
April?
200 basis points lower than what it normally would be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the benefit of buying from the builder in this particular case, which is why his cash flow is pretty stout. Now, what's interesting, if you contrast this with Danny and Luis, remember, they only had $10,000 out of pocket, which is why their numbers were really big from a percentage standpoint. Tony had to come out $44,000 out of pocket, but he's got a brand new property that he also gets equity capture in and gets $400 a month cash flow, right? So there's a lot of goodness in there. It's just a very different flavor of goodness than what we saw before.
I know there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with a huge rehab. It's scary, right? You don't want to take a house from basically looking like a teardown to a full rehab. If you just want something that's easy, you just have the cash, you sign the check, and then let's talk about the tenants. So obviously you didn't come with tenants. So did you do that, or you hired someone, or how did that work?
I had a leasing agent help me find some tenants, and I think it was like 45 days to find a tenant.
Okay, not bad. And then you manage it yourself, or you pay someone?
I manage it myself.
Okay, so no management fee. Awesome, good stuff. All right, so that's not the only property you have. Let's look at your summary. So you've got 3 single family, and you have 3 passive multifamily in apartment communities. Now these 3 houses are ones that you already own, but didn't you say you were rehabbing?
I'm closing on one this coming Friday.
Nice, okay.
So
it'll be 4. So with the 3, you're making over $1,000 net cash flow. Your cash flows are amazing, and that's over $12,000 a year. And almost $60,000 in equity capture. So that's fantastic. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just think too, if we all have hiccups in our life. Something happens. Somebody gets hurt, you lose a job or a car accident, you need some money, right? How nice would it be to have $1,000 a month that is coming in month after month after month? Mm-hmm. That take a little bit of a load off?
It does help, yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, especially
It's a sharp
with
stick in the eye.
cost of groceries these days. So.
Awesome. So we asked you, how has your life changed since joining Lifestyles? And I really liked your answer. It's definitely more eloquently put together because it's similar to what my why is, which is when I joined, I didn't want my daughter to go to public school. No offense to anyone involved in public school, but the area I lived in didn't have the best schools, so I wanted to send her to a private school. And that's expensive, right? Education is so expensive these days. And so that was my incentive. And I see that yours, you said that you want to put them in a better daycare. Have you been able to do that now with the extra cash flow?
Yeah, they started their new daycare at the start of the school year, and it's up the road just a piece right there. And they're outside all day, running around, getting all the energy out by the time mom and dad get home.
Oh,
So
perfect.
That's amazing. Think about that, guys. Those 3 rent properties already is changing his life. Daughters go to a better daycare than it was before. That's why we do this, right? He's making his family's life better. It's not about baubles and doodads. Some people like to buy the baubles and doodads, but it's about changing your life.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. All right, so what do you have planned? Short-term goals, long-term goals? What's next?
short-term goals is to close on the house next week. That one is not a new build, so there will be a pretty deep rehab on that, and so that'll be my focus there. And then I do have a separate kind of wing of investing with multifamily that I plan to keep investing through.
Okay, good. And then some of those might refi, I think we talked about, and so you refi that and then reinvest that capital, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just curious on the other 2 single families you have. What are the interest rates you have on those?
The Southton Basin is also another new build, and I think I went with 5.6% on that.
Nice.
And then the first one was 6%.
Okay. So the nice thing is if interest rates keep going down the way they have been the last few days, he may end up in a situation where a year from now he can do a cash out refi, lower his interest rate, and maybe even lower his payment when he puts money in his pocket. That's an amazing thing.
Tax-free.
Tax-free. We'll talk all about those things on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, this is amazing. Well, awesome. I think we are, oh, shout out, okay.
Shout out to Jody.
She's a plant.
And Michael.
And Michael was my realtor. Mr. Novak helped us with the 401k, and AMP Lending and Integrity Personal Insurance, who I don't think is here, but
And Greenworks, I use them
And
as
Greenworks,
well. They're
yes.
great inspectors. You can ask them for additional, you can get an elevation check and they'll do a little bit of foundation measurements. You always want to get an inspection right before you buy a property. So awesome, used all the team.
and
I know
actually
there's
I
gotta be
did
some
get,
questions.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but I did get a inspection from
Kevin Bain.
from Kevin
Yep,
back there
I
on
use him
Clovis.
too.
Yeah.
Any questions for Tony, guys? Well, there's got to be one. Jeff.
Why did you choose to shift from buying new to now the one you're closing on this week as a renovation project?
So I'll repeat the question. Why did you shift from going brand new and now you're going back to a renovation project?
I wanted to play a little bit. You know, I wanted to get my hands dirty and
He is an
capture a little more
engineer.
The
equity.
new builds are too boring.
A little bit, yeah.
It's more exciting, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Question, you mentioned when you, with your dad, he joined Lifestyle, bought some properties with you?
They were all in his name. I was his employee at the time, so I don't receive any of those 4 other ways to get. So I was like, "Oh, damn it, Dad! Come on."
That's funny. Good question. Anything else? Well, Tony, thank you for sharing.
Awesome.
Give it
Thank
up for
you,
Tony, everybody.
Yeah, appreciate it.